Hey guys, Alex and Dan from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who. Last time around was Love and Monsters. What was that one about?
I have completely forgotten it.
Right, so it was basically about this kid named Elton and him finding this group of people that have all encountered the Doctor and wish to find him again. And then they encountered a man named Victor Kennedy who wanted to really find the Doctor. And then most of them got eaten, absorbed into Kennedy's body.
He's the Absorbaloff.
Yeah. And then they were able to rip his body apart from the inside, and he melted into the pavement, and the Doctor was able to save Elton's friend, Ursula, and her face is now just in a slab. But apparently they still have a love life, so...
Let's not go there.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said.
Yeah. And I did read, because I went back and read up after we watched it, that apparently they were... The reason why Tennant and Billie Piper were so lightly in it is because they were already filming the Christmas special. And so they needed to basically have a story that did not center around the Doctor, so that they were filming the two of them at the same time, or something like that.
That would make sense, because, initially, they only ordered 13 episodes, but then they do the Christmas episode, and now the Christmas episode has become a staple, so it makes sense to basically save budget on that. So, the same thing kind of happened in Breaking Bad in the second season, I want to say. It was the third season, I think, where they just realized they had just gone over budget by the end of it, and they were like, what do we do? We can't afford one of the episodes. So they ended up making the Fly episode, and to save on money, they just had Walt and Jesse just put them in the lab, and that was the whole episode. A great episode, but that was the reason for that, to save as much money as possible. So it makes sense. It makes sense to do that. So yeah, we're on episode 11 of season 2. This is Fear Her.
And you told me this one also is somewhat controversial.
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting one. I did not have a very negative reaction to this the first time around. I just thought, that was an episode. And then I heard a lot of people that were like, yeah, I hated that episode. And I was like, okay. And now, coming back around, we watched Love and Monsters again, and I was like, you know what, that actually wasn't that bad. So I have no idea, honestly. Like, I remember this episode very clearly, but I have no idea what we're going to think by the end of it. So,
well, I have no expectations.
Yeah. So, but that is pretty much it, unless you got anything else.
No, just gearing up next weekend. About this time, we'll be down at the theater auditioning the Scarlet Pimpernel, which I'm directing. So, other than that, for those of you who are interested, if you're in the Oklahoma City metro area, we have been very, very busy. Last season, just as we were beginning the first week of January, we managed to get just over 500 season tickets. This year, before Thanksgiving, we have 912, and we're still going. So, at the moment, more than an 80% increase in our season tickets over last year, so we're scrambling to get it all into the system and get ready for the first show.
So that's your random life update that you people seem to enjoy. Yeah, that's pretty much that. So we might as well just jump right into this episode of Doctor Who.
Let's do it. That's the way I felt when I had vertigo.
Yeah.
That's an Australian song.
I'll put my beady eyes on him. Come on. Come on. No! John? What are you? Where's she gone?
What do you want with our children?
Ah! It's terrifying.
Ew. Reminds me of that old Twilight Zone episode where the kid sends people to the cornfield.
Ah.
There we go.
30th Olympiad.
Why?
Uh,
I think this is great.
the distant future of 2012.
A few naked Greek blokes were tossing a discus about, wrestling with each other in the sand, and the crowd stood around baying. No, wait a minute. That was done then.
Women were not allowed not only to participate in the original Olympics, they couldn't even watch them because all the men were naked.
Come on then, pal. I'll help you shift it. Quicker you're on your way. Happier you'll be.
Do you want a hand?
Pushing a Mini Cooper.
Meh.
Try pushing a full-size Chevrolet Silverado uphill. We did that.
Wow.
We need to just. I want an apology of her.
Stop picking on him.
Yeah, stop picking on
And
me.
stop pretending to be blind. It's evil.
I don't believe in evil.
Oh no, you just believe in tarmackers with loads of kidnapped kiddies in their van.
Yeah, that's not what she's saying.
Will you stop ganging up on me?
Feeling guilty, are we?
Fingers on lips.
It's surprisingly effective.
The last 6 days. Look at the hairs on the back of my manly hairy hand.
You have to come down sometime, Chloe.
I'm busy, Mom.
No, not the cat.
Get in here.
Dale made himself sad. So I'm gonna join my friend. That's what he needs. More friends.
He had a friend.
You beautiful boy.
Hi, I'm experimenting with backcombing.
It's fun, mate, yeah? What?
No, I'm not really a cat person. Once you've been threatened by one in a nun's wimple, it kind of takes the joy out of it.
Cartoon bees.
I mean, you scribble over something when you want to get rid of it, like a drawing, like a child's drawing. You said it was in the street.
Probably.
The girl.
What girl?
Something about her gave me the creeps. Even her own mum looked scared of her.
Are you deducting?
I think I am.
Copper's hunch.
Permission to follow it up, Sarge.
I'm pretty sure this was an old episode of SpongeBob. I say old, it probably came out around the same time.
I want you to know before you see her that she's really a great kid.
I'm sure she is.
She's never been in trouble at school. You should see her report from last year. A's and B's.
Can I use your loo?
She's in the choir. She sings in an old folks home anyhow.
Reminds me of the base housing we lived on at RAF Lakenheath, right in the front door. Stairways upstairs. To the right was the living room. To the left was the kitchen. All the bedrooms and bathroom were upstairs. You know better than that, Rose.
I mean, she already opened the garage door. You might as well go all the way.
There is no Rose, only Zool.
I'm busy, Doctor.
Oh, I thought we killed the devil.
those pictures, they're alive. She's drawn people and they end up in her pictures.
Ionic energy. Chloe's harnessing it to steal those kids and place them in some kind of holding pen made up of ionic power.
And what about the dad from hell in her wardrobe?
How many times do I have to tell you he's dead?
Well, he got better.
He's got a very young voice for a dead bloke.
If living things can become drawings, then maybe drawings can become living things.
Chloe's real dad. Nice one.
Ah, here's the other part.
You play.
Well, they travel, they play games. They use their ionic power to literally create make-believe worlds in which to play.
In-flight entertainment.
Helps keep you happy.
She was like me. Alone. She's me.
Alright, you guys got a chainsaw? You just pop that drywall out and go throw it away.
Chloe usually got the brunt of his temper when he had a drink. The day he crashed the car, I thought we were free. I thought it was over.
Did you talk to her about it?
I didn't want to.
Okay, starting to
Maybe
see a
that's why
problem.
Chloe was so alone.
It must be close. It should have got a weak energy signature that TARDIS can trace. Once we find it, then we can stop the Isolus.
You could tell the Isolus that you're going to help. Jeez. Secret stash.
What? I've got cousins. Kids can't have it all their own way. That's part of being a family.
What about trying to understand them?
Easy for you to say, you don't have kids.
I was a dad once.
What did she say?
I think we're there. Fear, loneliness,
He was a dad once. Well, he does have a granddaughter.
Oh yeah.
Conquer or destroy.
By the most basic logic, that's how it works.
Okay.
Now the TARDIS.
2 inches across, dull grey, like a gull's egg, very light.
So these pods, they travel from sun using heat, yeah? So it's not all about love and stuff. Doesn't the pod just need heat?
Oh no.
You just took a cancel act from a cancel man, and now you're digging up a cancel roll. I'm reporting you to the council.
The one for the hottest thing in the string. Your tar.
What is it?
It's a spaceship. Not a council spaceship, I'm afraid.
Hey.
I don't know what to do with it, but maybe the Isolus will just hop on board. Hang on, I told you not to leave her.
My God! What's going on here?
Well, great job.
They're gone. Everyone has gone. Thousands of people.
Now the Olympics.
have gone. Right in front of my eyes. It's impossible. Bob, can we join you in the box? Bob.
Oh no, not Bob too.
Not you too, Bob.
Hey, we gotta keep this pickaxe.
Here's Johnny.
And that one.
She didn't draw that, he did. He's born heat, Doctor.
The Olympic torch.
I know how to charge up the pod.
Gonna tackle the Olympic runner. Ooh.
Well, now you've just got this cool drawing.
Over here.
80,000 people going to appear in her bedroom.
This dude doesn't know what's going on. Oh, good. 80,000 people just land in the same place. Topple a building.
Apparently they all go back to where they were taken from.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who you are or what you did, but thank you, darling.
Good job, Rose.
And thank that
80,000 athletes and spectators, they disappeared, they've come back, they've returned, they've reappeared. It's quite incredible.
Nobody's going to be freaking out about that.
Maybe he's injured, but he's definitely in trouble. This means that the Olympic dream is dead. We've no idea who he is. He's carrying the flame. Yes, he's carrying the flame, and no one wants to stop him. And it's more than a flame now, Bob. It's more than heat and light. It's hope, and it's courage, and it's love.
Oh, please.
Go on. Join your brothers and sisters. They'll be waiting.
Will always be okay, you and me. Don't you reckon, Doctor?
Something in the air. Something coming. A storm's approaching.
Alrighty, that's our ominous lead-in to the two-part finale.
Now, was it last episode, or was it the Satan Pit where somebody predicted that something would happen to Rose?
Well, in the Satan Pit, it was the devil that said that Rose would die in battle. And last episode, Elton said, I wonder how long the two of them can keep going, doing all this ridiculous stuff. So,
and now again, I'm not familiar with a lot of New Who, but she only meets the 11th Doctor in the Day of the Doctor, doesn't she?
Yeah. Technically, that's not her. It's the moment.
Yeah.
Stuff. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's already gone. He already picks up somebody new before he regenerates into Matt Smith.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So,
and this is something we've been doing for 9 seasons now. The road worker seems like somebody who may have been written in because they didn't realize Mickey was going to be gone somewhere. It's one of those things where it seems like whoever was writing this episode thought that would be Mickey, and therefore when Mickey was dropped in the couple episodes back, they said, oh, well, we got to rewrite the character, and so they just made it into somebody who was very much like Mickey.
Maybe. Well, I think... Well, okay. What did you think of the episode?
Well, I mean, it gets very, very corny there at the end. But, yeah, it's an interesting... I thought it was an interesting concept. Children can be very, very scary. And again, I referenced the Twilight Zone episode where a young kid had the ability to literally think people away. And again, the kid was probably not much older or younger than Chloe was there. The whole thing with her dad seemed a bit much, and it was almost brushed under the rug. The mom saying her dad always seemed to take it out on Chloe, and I never wanted to talk to her about it. I mean, that was... I don't know. That didn't work for me personally. But the rest of the episode was fine. It's not one of their better ones. It's not one of their worst ones.
The biggest criticism I've seen towards this episode is that it's just boring. And more than anything else of, the bad plot or bad anything else that you could say about a Doctor Who episode, it's just that seems to be what cements this as one of the worst episodes, is just it's incredibly boring. And I gotta say, watching it again, it's like, it's not really that exciting.
Well, yeah, I mean, because it's somewhat of a mystery, the pace does not keep up as well. Usually, once you get involved in it, you want to kind of speed it up towards the conclusion. And yes, I don't want to say it was plotting. It's certainly not as plotting as some of those 4-parters that should have been 2 or 3-parters that we watched before. But again, it held my interest. Again, first time watching it, it was okay.
Yeah, I don't really view it any more favorably or less favorably than the last time I watched it. It's just it's an episode. When I first watched it, I thought, well, it's whatever. I didn't think it was as bad as what I originally thought of Love and Monsters. This time around, now I have a more favorable view of Love and Monsters. But that's the thing, is a lot of people I've seen recently have been more like, well, I don't mind Love and Monsters that much, but this one is just too boring, basically.
Yeah. And the only major quibble I have is the resolution with Rose in the pod. Throwing it, now I realize the pod was, directing itself towards the heat, but again, if they were going to do that, she should have mentioned her middle school gymnastics team or whatever, taking her best shot at the throw or whatever. But to me, it would have been more, I don't want to say realistic, but to find a way to break through the crowd and maybe go out and try to hug the runner and then slip the pod in. Yeah, she just needed to get close to it, because that seemed to stretch credulity, the fact that there's a pod from outer space.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about, though. But the old lady character was fine. The young guy from the council, my council van, my council pickaxe. That's I've met a lot of bureaucrats like that in my day.
Yeah. There's a show on Amazon Prime called Clarkson's Farm. It's one of the guys who was on Top Gear, the British car show. Eventually went over to the Grand Tour on Amazon. He has a spin-off where basically he owns a farm. And so around the time of the pandemic, he thought the guy that was running his farm retired. So he thought, well, I'll run the farm, and we'll make it into a show, and it'll be funny. And the whole show, at first it's big rich moron can't understand a farm. It immediately just delves into all the problems of trying to work a farm in the modern age, and one of the biggest things is dealing with the local council.
Yeah.
And every time he's trying to make just a restaurant on his farmland so he could actually use some of the stuff he produces, and the hurdles, as stupid as they are, that he goes through because of this just local council, it's ridiculous. So on top of all the actual economic problems that running a farm has in the 2020s.
Yeah.
So
now I will say again, lived in England for 3 years. Lived in the town of Mildenhall. Don't remember any local government there at all. But the tiny little village of Herringswell, where we lived for a year, although we never directly at that time dealt with the town council, I did find out later that there was a big controversy because the place where we lived in the servants' quarters of this Victorian hunting lodge later became like an ashram, where the gurus came in, and so there was a whole big thing about that, if I recall correctly. But I will say this. I have actually emailed and spoken through the email with some members of the council about when we lived there, and they're the ones who pointed me to a specific website that had pictures of what it looked like when we lived there. So I was very grateful for them. They were very cooperative, so I was really enjoyed working with them. So I mean, I know enough about especially London government and some of the other large towns, Liverpool, Manchester, York, and so forth, that I understand that these councils can be very, very feudal in their dealings with the public.
Yeah. I think my biggest problem with the episode, and I agree about the whole thing with the dad, I will say the mother just doesn't work. And especially at the end, when it's Rose is, on her own trying to do this stuff, and she says, okay, don't don't let her out of your sight.
Yeah.
And then immediately she comes back and is like, I thought I told you not to leave her. And she just kind of just stands there and it's just like,
well, you may have missed the fact that she had a cup of tea in her. I think she had a cup of tea in her hand. So, she thought, well, I can at least go down and grab a cup of tea and come back to her, not realizing that, there was going to be a problem. So,
I mean, she keeps thinking she's taken all the pencils away. And it's like, but you clearly haven't. There are pencils all over the place. I don't know why you bought so many pencils in the first place. But still, it's like, you just... Come on. So... But other than that, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's fine. It's, I think also, too, because it's like, because between this and the last episode, it's like, I feel like it's a tough balancing act when you're making a season of Doctor Who of what episodes take place where. And when do they go, kind of back to back? Because, we did have 2 episodes in space with the Satan 2-parter. And then now we've had 2 episodes, essentially in modern times. This technically was the near future of 2012, but that's only 6 years in the future. And then, it's like what was the historical episode? It was Tooth and Claw was the historical episode of this season. Yeah, with Queen Victoria and everything. Yeah. Was that it? Was that the only... Yes, because we had...
you can go back to the menu and take a look.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, because the whole season's not on this DVD in particular.
Okay.
But, yeah, so we had Tooth and Claw. That was episode 2. Then we had the Sarah Jane episode. Then after that was the Cybermen 2-parter, which was kind of... It was like half, modern times, half kind of futuristic just because it was the other world and stuff. It's like... I feel like with this season... the balance, like, there's not really a balance to all the episodes, whereas season 1, I thought there was, way more of that going on. So I imagine that's just a difficult thing. And with this one, it's like, yes, it's 6 years in the future, but not in any place that's actually kind of interesting. It's just on, what, as they say, an ordinary street in London, basically. Yeah. So it's like, I can see why the setting of just we're on this street and we're dealing with this kid and, this little alien. It's like, I can see why that doesn't hold a lot of people's interest.
Now, I thought they missed, and again, this is the history geek in me speaking, I thought they missed, or put it in the background, the idea that the torch that guy was carrying actually is carried by hand, literally across Europe, but it starts in the city-state of Olympia in Greece. And they have literally a solar collector where whoever the original torchbearer is puts it in, and the flame is literally ignited by the sun. And the idea that if they had made more of that and said, this torch actually carries the power of the sun, then that would have made more sense as going, we got to put the pod in there because that will direct it back up into space.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, you could have just lit a bonfire and then, and then there you go. It would have produced enough heat from what they did.
Early on, they had the guy with basically with the large flamethrower that was heating the tar so that he could level it out and everything. And again, I would imagine that theoretically could have, given it enough energy. But the idea that the torch was actually ignited by the sun is, to me, the pivotal part there, and they really downplayed that.
Yeah.
I heard in the background something about the torch coming all the way from Greece, but that could have made it, again, for the history guys, that could have made it a little more interesting.
Yeah, so... and I think the only other thing is, if I remember, there were people that said that apparently when 2012 did roll around, there were a large number of people that wanted them to recreate the end of this episode and have David Tennant come in dressed as the Doctor and light the flame. But I don't think that happened. So that would have been funny. That would have been incredibly funny. Yeah. But yeah, I guess that's it. It's all right. It's fine. I understand if people don't like it, but to me, it's just kind of in one ear out the other, and I just kind of move on. So, next time, the next episode is called Doomsday.
Oh boy.
And that will be the beginning of the 2-part finale of this season. And then, like we said, we're going to, ironically, take a break for Christmas, and then we're going to come back in January, and we're going to do the Christmas special. But that's just kind of how that works out. So it just means Christmas is going long into the next month.
All right, so the Christmas special can be watched out of sequence with these last two?
No. It needs because they always do the Christmas special just between seasons. So we have to do the next 2 episodes and then the next Christmas special.
Okay.
So it'll be technically season 3 episode 0 is what we go for. The other thing about that is just that, it's like, well, we'll be getting back to that pretty much in January. Unfortunately, it's not timed perfectly that we do it in December. The other thing, though, is that this Christmas there will be a new Doctor Who Christmas special that'll be airing. But while that'll be airing on Christmas Day, I'm not going to get to that until January. So I'm just going to be watching 2 Christmas specials in January. And I think actually... funny enough, there's an upcoming episode of The Sopranos that I'm going to watch that I think is also a Christmas episode. But the way I think I'm going to record that. That'll be the last Sopranos video I record in December. But because of the way the days line up, it'll still go out that first week of January. So Christmas is going long. All right, Christmas is going into the next month, and we're all just going to have to deal with it. So. But that is basically it. With all of that being said, we're Alex and Dad from 7th Hour Films, and we will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of our modern Doctor Who reactions, as well as another playlist for every Doctor Who reaction we've put on the channel. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.